National Economic Dialogue. We'll be asking questions about, the policies, the programs, the plans. Are these the sort of things we need? Before we get into the discussion, before I introduce my guest, let's listen to highlights from the National Economic Dialogue.
Aggressively pursue inclusive and sustainable growth for economic transformation. Accordingly, we encourage government to establish new agricultural institutes and enhance existing ones to foster expertise, drive innovation, and stimulate interest in industrialized agricultural production. Review and introduce a streamlined tax system for agricultural inputs and outputs to promote efficiency, reduce burdens, and support sector growth. Develop policies that proactively address skill gaps by aligning current and projected developmental priorities. Promote private sector-led growth to unlock the full potential of business. We emphasize the need to 1. Structure and institutionalize a platform for sustained government-private sector engagement. 2. Enhance the African awareness and provide hands-on support to businesses to maximize trade opportunities. 3. Direct a portion of banks' cash reserve requirements toward credit creation and provide tailored financing. And 4. Fast-track company registration and licensing with strict adherence to service-level agreements to secure timely approval. Implement structural and policy reform, especially in key sectors for growth. This must focus on A. Ensuring the effective execution of the energy sector review policy to improve efficiency, sustainability, and service delivery in the sector. B. Conducting a comprehensive review of ECG's operations and implement necessary reforms to position it for potential private sector involvement. C. Strengthening ECG's billing and collection systems while enforcing cost-cutting measures to improve operational efficiency and service delivery. D. Finalizing the review of IPP contracts and renegotiate terms to lower power purchase costs and enhance financial sustainability. D. Eliminating illegal mining, i.e. galamsey, while resolving inefficiencies in the cocoa value chain to boost production and sustainability. E. Returning Cocoa Board to its role as an agency under the Ministry of Finance, ensuring that it focuses on its core mandate of ensuring the efficiency of the sector and protecting the interests of farmers. And finally, implementing a strategy to promote land reclamation, afforestation, and increase cocoa production. Prioritize efforts to restore macroeconomic stability and regain confidence in the economy by enhancing coordination between fiscal and monetary policy operations and achieve alignment, reviewing the foreign exchange retention regime to support economic stability, implementing major tax reforms that expand the tax net, including property taxes, revise VAT rates, and address revenue leakages, overhauling and ensuring compliance with the Public Finance Management Act 2016 Act 921 and reform the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2018-982. Reforming state-owned enterprises and enforcing transparent financial reporting and good corporate governance practices. Strengthening expenditure controls in public agencies and resource internal audit regime to be effective, and establishing a credible medium-term expenditure framework that ensures adequate provision of funding for projects before commencement.
So these are highlights from the National Economic Dialogue. We're joined in studio by Kojo Akpabi, who is a credit industry analyst, financial analyst, and tax specialist, lead consultant of the Akpabi Group in the U.S. For many of us, he's no stranger to Joy FM. He's conducted lots of investigations into fraud at our points of entry. And so this morning, he's joined us in studio. We'll be joined by Professor John Gachi, who is the Dean of the University of Cape Coast Business School. But Kojo Akpabi, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. We've been having these conversations for some time now, but there you have it. National Economic Dialogue, the Communique 8 priority areas they expect government to focus on. Do you say these are the things we need, or you say business as usual?
Well, I did my best to listen to first the President's State of the Nation address, one. And I picked something from there.
Okay.
Then I listened to the National Economic Dialogue. I have lived on this earth by the grace of God more than 60 years. I've been involved with GRA, SFO, and all others. So,
as in the Serious Fraud Office.
A serious office. Now
EOCO, yeah.
I understand the system. It's been a failure of economic and fiscal policies over the years. When I moved to the US, I realized that we've been doing the same thing over and over again. Thank God for the life of Dr. Ishmael Yamson. He has paid his dues. When I was a boy, he was with Unilever. But I think we are in the 21st century, and we need brains in technology, especially manufacturing technology.
What's the point you're making? Are you suggesting that we're actually deviating from what is acceptable in the 21st century?
Yeah. For instance, all that we've been talking about, fiscal and monetary, have all been a failure. It's the paper money. If you take the dollar is the world reserve currency. The dollar is having challenges today. So if you look at Trump today, it's changed everything altogether. And President Mahama has the same opportunity as Trump. They've been there before.
Hold on a second. Are you suggesting?
Yes.
Are you suggesting?
Yes.
That the macroeconomic stability and regaining confidence in the economy is not necessary?
The point I'm making is this. All these policies, for instance, the cause of the financial crisis in 2008 is because of modern monetary theory, which was brought in. Printing money, cutting money is not modern, it's not monetary, it's not theory. We are saying, I'm in the US and I've been involved in all the discussions and the decisions being taken by MAGA. I'm involved. I'm saying that all the monetary and fiscal policies have been a failure, even in the US and in Europe. If you look at Europe, the major economies are all in trouble. UK, Germany, France, Canada. So I'm saying that we need to change course. It seems to me
change to what course?
Yes, I'm saying that we've been talking about this theory, right? For instance, I sent a paper to the president, and I'm asking a question. Difference between Mahamanomics, that is resecting, and Bawumianomics. The agenda is not the finance minister. The agenda is the president. He is the one we elected as president. So he has an agenda. And I'm saying that all this macro and micro and all that have been terms over the years. And that is what caused the financial crisis.
Hold on a second. Are you saying, for instance, dealing with inflation and the things you are talking about, why, if we manufacture here, at the end of the day, it would help reduce inflation because a lot of our inflation is imported.
Yes.
Are you saying, for instance, that if we decide as a people that we are going to reduce lending rates so people have access to credit and expand businesses, which would lead to, say, a growth in manufacturing, is all unnecessary?
Where is the money? You're talking about the banks that have collapsed over the years.
The banks are doing well now.
How many of them?
The banks are functioning. The banks are functioning now, and there are conversations about helping the banks, reviewing their reserve policy, so that the banks can give more, funds to businesses to engage in manufacturing. Are you saying this is unnecessary?
But we've been going to the IMF to borrow.
Yes.
What is the money? I'm saying American debt today is 36 trillion. Ghanaians must listen to me carefully. America's debt is 36 trillion. And America has been borrowing $1 trillion every 100 days. I'm saying I'm involved. That is why Trump is taking these measures. And we are in trouble. Ghana, Africa is in trouble.
Hold on about that. Let's focus on our policies, because you have said these are not the best policies.
Yes, they are not.
Let's stay away from the American situation,
Okay.
because this is Ghana.
Fine.
And we want to look at what works for us.
Okay.
What do you say works for us that what we have put here doesn't make sense?
I'm saying we should go manufacturing. All the discussion should be about manufacturing.
Okay.
And it should be about trade. Let me say this. Let me be blunt here. The leading ministry in Ghana, you say I should leave the West and America.
Yes.
The leading ministry is trade, not finance. Trade is the backbone of every economy. And I think we have not given the due place to Ministry of Trade. What is the name now? It's Ministry of Trade and Agribusiness.
Yes.
That is
Trade,
it.
industry, agribusiness.
Yes, that is it. That is the leader of every economy.
And don't you get the sense from what...
Not finance.
No, hold on.
I will explain.
Hold on. We get into it, but
Yes.
hold on.
Yes.
This government says Ministry of Trade, Industry and Agribusiness.
Yes.
So there's focus on agriculture, not just production, not just cultivation, production, processing. Because there's a talk about agribusiness. The president is even urging churches and everybody to get into manufacturing, get into processing. Doesn't that at least give you some bit of assurance that things are about to change?
No. I think we are missing. I've been listening to the discussion. After the 2 days, I heard the AGI clearly. I think it's been mixing production and manufacturing. For instance, if we produce eggs, right? There's no manufacturing. We're talking about manufacturing. The president is saying he's going to make Volta region aviation hub. Let's start training the machinists. Swami Magazine, Accra Machine Shop. We will teach them manufacturing technology, and we start manufacturing bolts and nuts and parts. Temashipia. That is manufacturing. So that is the way we should go. And I'm saying trade, global trade. Ghanaians, listen carefully. Global trade, right, is 80% merchandise. 20% is services, accounting, banking, legal. So small. And Ghana is not there. If even we have 0.0001% in the global trade, we are somewhere. We are not there. That's why you're still asking me not to give the Western example, but I can't. Manufacturing left US for China. In the 1930s, President McKinley and co., they used tariff, external revenue system, not internal revenue system, not internal revenue, external, to build Panama Canal and US economy. Then somewhere along the line, US relaxed and all the manufacturing left for China. That's why American economy is in trouble. I'm saying we are not there. Yes, Nkrumah, but
go ahead. Yes, Nkrumah started.
Nkrumah started something. I started my accounting profession with State Enterprises Audit Corporation. We were auditing all the state institutions, and I knew the industries Nkrumah established. Today, if you go, they are all gone. They should be there for us to turn them into manufacturing. We had boat yard, we had shoe, Kumasi, we had a Casanoma, we have all kinds of industries, but we have destroyed all of them. I'm saying if we keep talking about services, we are not there. Winston, I will still go back to the US. Japan Prime Minister has just put, I was there, 1 trillion in the economy. SoftBank in Japan, 500 billion. Saudi Arabia is running to US, 600 billion. Modi, Indian Prime Minister, left NATO meeting and what I'm saying
US is the biggest market. Fine,
Yes.
but let's get to our situation. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's get to our situation. So you're talking about manufacturing.
Yes, I'm talking about manufacturing.
Some of these things you've talked about, we don't have the expertise and skills immediately. What we do have is where we start from. So, for instance, they've talked about, the need to improve manufacturing and all of that. But also, part of our problem here, when it comes to inflation, is dealing with food. So, if a government says, I am interested in agribusiness to first of all feed my people, and then move on to other forms of manufacturing, to manufacturing, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, there's everything wrong. You're talking about, we have gold, don't we?
We do.
Why do we allow other nations to come and buy our gold raw? Cocoa, we sell them raw, right?
We have processing companies in Ghana. We manufacture chocolate here.
But the major portion of the cocoa goes out, and I always hear 1 billion coming in the store. The point I'm making is this: our focus should be on manufacturing. We have gold, we have diamond, we have cocoa. You have a country, Switzerland, it doesn't have resources as we have, but produces watches. And we have all these resources. We cannot manufacture anything. What do we need? We have engineers. I'm coming back to the failure of our educational system. We have engineers who cannot run machines. Like you taking Swami Magazine, you are taking Accra Machine Shop. I was born and bred at Latebiokoshi. We had Accra Machine Shop producing bolts and nuts. I'm saying it's doable. The challenge is the failure of the type of education we've been given in the schools. That is the challenge. We don't need you don't need a degree to be a manufacturing technologist. No. We will teach you what it is, and together with the engineers, we start producing. We start manufacturing. You've heard of Elon Musk, right?
Before you get in there, I'm still bringing you back to my earlier question. Yes, I'm bringing you back here.
Good.
Because, you've talked about the fact that these are things we've heard before. These are same old things.
Yes.
But also, you're not addressing the fact that you're using what is happening in a country that is self-sufficient when it comes to a lot of things, and so can do things differently. You're asking us to start at a place where we're not. Let's look at the realistic situation of Ghana. Let's get it right. Today, what is the major problem here? And what is it that we must deal with? A major problem is dealing with food inflation and creating jobs. How do we deal with these?
Okay. You're talking about food inflation. I've been hearing these terms. The point is, we must eat what we produce, right? And the bottom line is, we're not doing that. We're talking about food inflation. How much of rice and other items do we import into this country yearly? Millions of dollars. And we could feed ourselves here with what we produce. We're not doing that. The political will is not there. I'm saying it needs a political will to say, no, you can't bring these items into my country.
Hold on a minute. Let me just say that we've been joined by Professor John Gachi, who's is the Dean of the University of Cape Coast Business School. He's also part of the National Economic Dialogue Planning Committee. Professor Gachi, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning.
Kujo Akbabi, who's in here, who's a tax specialist and financial analyst, says we are doing the same thing and expecting different results. We've just gone there, sat down, and talked about things that we already know. Our focus should be on manufacturing. We should be competitive globally and stop focusing on service sector when our manufacturing sector is not growing. What do you say to his comments?
Well, I think that is a wrong assessment of the situation. We need all sectors to operate. Not all Ghanaians operate in the manufacturing sector. So what has been the situation over the past years is that services have taken over, but services itself should provide services to some of the manufacturing sector. So even though services is leading, you will see that financial services have been very disruptive over the years. So those are the things that we need to be looking at to see that we match up the service sector against the manufacturing sector. In fact, the manufacturing sector, as it says, you see that our industry includes the extractive sector. So if you take the extractive sector, it's as if you don't even have any industry. So I agree that we need to do much more focusing, create the environment for manufacturing sector to operate. But we cannot discount the role of the service sector. We should nurture all the sectors and then have a comprehensive and inclusive benefit for the sectors.
Okay. Talking about having, a comprehensive this thing, Professor Gachi, I look at the communique. Maybe you would be able to provide additional information. But I look at the communique, prioritize efforts to restore macroeconomic stability and regain confidence in the economy, aggressively pursued inclusive and sustainable growth for economic transformation, promote private sector growth to unlock the full potential of business, innovatively address the infrastructure deficit to advance economic transformation, implement structural and policy reforms, especially in key sectors for growth, promote good governance, accountability, and relentlessly eliminate corruption. These are things we've heard before. What's new in here?
Hello?
Yes, Prof. I'm saying that if I look at the communique, the 6 points, these are things we've heard before, over and over again. The question Ghanaians are asking, what's new in here?
So were we expecting that something that will come up that we have not heard before? I think that's not the issue. The issue is selected problems were articulated and then we have proffered solutions to them. It is now left with those who manage the economy to commit themselves to implement those things that we have identified to resolve the problem. And so far, that commitment has been given. That part of those issues that we talk about will be reflecting in the budget. The rest will go into medium to long-term agenda to address the issues. So I think these issues are very important. The strategies to go by these things are not the same things that we know before. We know our problems, but the strategies to approaches to resolve them will differ from time to time.
Okay. So what are these new strategies that you're proffering? I mean, now that you talk about the fact that the strategies are not the same, share the new ones with us.
We just provided a broad-based communique. We are now putting together the real report of the dialogue to be presented in the shortest possible time. I believe by 20th of this month we should do that.
But then the point is that for someone like me, if I look at this and I say, from what I have seen, these are things we've talked about previously and a rehash of old problems and old solutions, would I be wrong?
You are wrong. because nobody went there to rehash problem. The problem persists, so it has to be addressed. So we didn't go there to rehash problem. We went there to see problems which were lingering on, were not resolved, must be resolved. Cocoa sector didn't start today. The energy sector didn't start today. So nobody went there to reinvent those problems. Those problems were there. We are not able to resolve them.
Those,
Okay.
yes, briefly.
Yeah,
Please hold on, Prof. Yes, 1 minute.
Professor Gaji, good morning. I lost your number. Your uncle and my dad live at Latebi Okoshi.
Yes,
now let
yes.
me say this.
I'm aware of that.
Yes, Professor Gachi, I don't agree. I've been in this country. I've lived in this country. I've worked in this country. The challenges have been there ever since, even before we entered the fourth Republican, whatever it is.
I don't think we are arguing about the problem. The problem have been there. They persist.
Yeah,
we have to solve the problem.
Yeah, but
so it's not a question about you have been in this country.
Prof, you are in academia.
The problem have been there.
You are in academia.
Hold on, Mr. Akpabi.
The energy sector, in fact, they are even describing it as legacy problems. So we all agree. The problem have been there, but the problems have to be solved.
Let me
stop this thing of trying to undermine the effort of people. The problems are there. The solutions. Do you think that the solutions are not solutions?
Kuja Akpabi is asking a question.
That's fine. I'm not here to argue with anyone. I'm saying that what you did
of the country.
What you did for the
if you think that the solutions are not cogent, what is the solution? How about the problems that they have been there?
Yeah, Prof, I'm saying that what you did for the past 2 days, if we go back to look at the National Economic Dialogue, it's been the same thing. I'm saying that it is time to change course, and let's stop this doing the same thing over and over again.
Hold on 1 minute for me.
That's
hold
all
on
my
1 minute
point.
for me. And please hold on, Professor John Gachi, because we've also been joined by John Iwa, who is CEO of the Ghana Association of Banks. Mr. Iwa, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, Winston, and good morning to the other guests on the show.
Would you say it's business as usual, same solutions to old problems?
I wouldn't say so. In fact, very far from it. And as has already been said by Professor Gachi, we've had these problems for decades. What we have not had is, even if these solutions are rehashed solutions, we have not really attempted resolving or executing the solutions we put on the table. The chance we have this time, and I'm calling it a chance,
please wait,
is a lot would depend on the managers of the economy and the premium they put on the solutions that have been put on the table. I was deeply involved the last 2 days. I was part of the private sector breakout group. And the solutions that came, to be honest with you, they are not necessarily even rehashed solutions. Some are actually thinking without the box solutions. Things we are now dreaming and hoping that the managers of the economy will, take these solutions by the bootstrap and run with them. To say that they are rehashed or they are doing the same thing over and over again, I'm not sure Ghana can become United States overnight. We have to start from somewhere. Where I understand or I may agree with your in-studio guest is, what is the will? Do we have the willpower to change course? And as a country, as a people, do we also agree on the sacrifices that we must make? Some of these solutions, if they are properly implemented, the country may go down even further before it comes up. Are we willing to do that difficult job of accepting that this rice, local rice, is not the best of rice, but that is what we have, because we want to substitute this imported rice and save our foreign currency? So it means perhaps in our lifetime, we may not have the best of rice, but in our children's lifetime, they will be exporting rice. That is how other countries that have developed went about it. We cannot be thinking about luxury when we are just scratching the surface of our problem. The country's problems are structural. And once you change the structure, things will break down. And when things break down, that is where you start redigging and rebuilding the foundation. So it's a lot to do. It's not something that, in my view, is going to be achieved in 4 years. If we work aggressively at it, a lot of it we can see some results within 2-3 years. But a lot of it we will begin seeing the results even after 4 years. That is, if we are very deliberate and measured in rolling out and executing some of the structural discussions and the solutions that were put out in the last 2 days. I think it was a very fantastic event. It was very well organized. The insights that came were mind-boggling. The bottom line is, who is going to hold it and run with it? And that is where it lies at the doorstep of His Excellency the President to pick these bold initiatives and run with it. Some may not make him very popular, but then he says he wants to leave a legacy. You know, you want to leave a legacy, sometimes you have to break things in order to leave a legacy. And that is where I will end it. But to say that is rehashing, in my view, it is very far from it. And let me just end with this. The discussions that went on, particularly around private sector and the infrastructure finance, are not things that I have seen before or heard before. We are a poor country, and we are putting every financial obligation to get our infrastructure running on the balance sheet of the country. When we can structure it very well, package it very well, and hive off to a private entity, and a private entity run with it. We've had it with NIA, where a private entity is running with government, and we have our Ghana card. We've had it with IPPs. So we can have some successes and even more successes. The issue is, are we ready where it matters most, when sacrifices have to be made? Okay. And that is where I'll end it.
Yes, let me give you quick one. Because you're wrapping up. Yes, yes.
We have, by the decisions we've taken over the years, monetary, fiscal, we have destroyed Ghana's balance sheet. We have done that. That is my answer to Ghanaians. And so we need to come back and find out what we need to do. We have all the resources that other countries don't have. But we have messed up with our economy over the decades.
Okay.
So that is my...
I want to say, if I may just interrupt just for a minute, because I'm running into a program.
Yes, just a minute. Go ahead.
I also heard something on, we've been over-focusing on the macros and the micro. Everything is in that thing. The micro accumulates into the macro. And if you don't stabilize your country, you cannot have a manufacturing hub. No. If your currency is volatile, is running around whenever somebody calls in this country, you cannot have a manufacturing hub. So we need the macro stability. We are in this country where banks were lending at 13%. Why were banks lending at 13% and now they are lending at 30%? Because at that time, inflation was around 7%. T-bill rate was around 11-12%. So the macro is everything. What we have not been very good at is sustaining whatever stability we record over a long-term period, so that businesses can plan properly and individuals can have a good horizon for their income.
Okay.
For doing nothing wrong, you earn CDs today, and next year that same CD can buy you nothing. So the macro is everything. You cannot discount it. Thank you.
Great. Let me just see
has been put on hold.
If we have Professor John Gachi, so we wrap it up with him.
Your call has been put on hold. Please wait.
Professor John Gachi, what would you say finally? Okay, we don't have Professor Gachi. Mr. Akpabi.
I'll end with this.
Yes.
We've all been talking about paper money, centralized currency. Centralized currency backed by nothing is designed to devalue even the US dollar, the almighty dollar. So the discussions have been hearing micro, macro, theory is all about paper money. I'm saying let's move away from that. Because the paper money we're talking about has no backing.
What backing are you talking about?
If you take the dollar,
What backing do you want?
I want us to manufacture our gold and produce items from it to back our city.
You want a city backed by gold?
Yes, backed by gold.
Thank you very much, Kujo Akpabi, who is a lead consultant for the Akpabi Group in the U.S. credit industry analyst, financial analyst, and tax specialist. And I heard from Professor John Gachi, who is economist and dean of the University of Cape Coast Business School, and John Ewasi of the Ghana Association of Banks.